Hey everyone, welcome to Open Mic, the voice of spirituality and mediumship. I'm your host, Ramzi Chiri, and my co host, Tanys Coughlin. Good evening,
Hi,
everyone.
everyone.
Good, good. So, Tanys, do introduce yourself. I keep on forgetting these days. I don't know why.
You want me to do the I do stuff thing? I'm Tanys
Please.
Coughlin.
Awesome.
I'm Tanys Coughlin from the Twillo Lifestyle Community, Twillo Lifestyle Academy. And I am an intuitive energy healer. I am a channel. I am a galactic ambassador. And I am a Celtic shamanic high priestess. I do stuff.
And I'm Ramzi Chiri. I'm a psychic medium. I actually did not know that I'm going to be a psychic medium at one point in time, but here I am. Uh,
Nor did
welcome
I.
to our show. Actually, I'm saying that because right before the show, by the way, this is behind the mic today. Last episode, we did behind the mic one. We talked about our spiritual journey, our awakening journey, actually. And what happened is that we got a lot of people that were able to resonate with it and help them along their way. So we decided to go for a second behind the mic today with my coffee to have a chat with you all. We'll say hi to our listeners. Hi,
Hello,
Fogo.
Fogo Pogo.
Thank you for joining. So, 2 days ago, we were invited. I get invited every now and then because I'm the busy one. Tannis is on the show every Wednesday. It's called Astrological Tarot, I think, right? If I didn't get it wrong.
It's Live, Love, and Learn
Oh, okay.
is the name of the show, sort of the name of the show. It's the Wednesday reading show is what it is. Yeah.
So we ended up on a marathon of exactly 3 hours nonstop giving readings. Nonstop. Uh, I know at the end of it, I was like pumped. I was like,
I was
I'm
pooped.
ready to go for another 2 hours of readings, and they were intense. They were one after the other. We did a what was that thing at the end? What she called it? Like she started
Oh, lightning round
lightning round.
or speed round.
Yeah,
Speed round, yeah.
it was
Hmm.
like speed dating. It was like it's like going on and on and on and on. But it was interesting. So what brought us here? Okay, we awakened last time, and everybody was happy. Well, not happy because when you awaken, usually there's a cycle of a downturn. It's like, oh my god, everything is wrong. Whatever I was told is a lie, and what am I doing here? Let me go and sit in the forest somewhere or in a cave and to hell with
Let's
humanity.
ground. It's not always that bad, but it can be.
And then 2 days later, it's like, no, 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 I want to go have dinner at this my favorite restaurant. But we go through that change. It's like because everything kind of like it's like a carpet being pulled from under your feet. That's how it feels. So
Mhm.
it's rocky bit at the beginning, and then slowly, slowly it stabilizes, and we start to understand who we are. And
Yeah.
from that point on, who we are starts to what do you call it?
Evolve.
Evolve. Thank you. Evolve. So let's start with some stories.
Okay.
Let's start.
What kind of stories are we going to talk about tonight?
I don't know, stories that actually. Let's talk about a story that brought us to readings at the end of the day, psychic readings, or
Okay.
mediumship, or in your case, channeling, or something like that. Because that's what happened. It happened after that. There were hints before, but we turned a blind eye for whatever reason. But then after, when you awaken and you shed all those fears and what do you call it? Mental construct,
Yeah. Yeah.
society's mental construct around certain topics, we become free to experiment and experience the other realm. Well,
The other realms.
what
Like,
I just want to what do you call it, just make a small, what do you call it? Explanation. When I say the other realm is within you. Basically, you understand the spirit that lies within. Okay, it expands so much that you can feel it. You can feel who you are, and you can feel what's around you. And I think on the last episode we talked about zooming in and taking a picture. So you're actually focusing on one person or an object in the picture, and you don't see the background. That's our
Right.
lives. But then when you open up, you're able to focus at a wide angle and see not only the object in focus, but also the background.
Right. Yeah, because that's kind of like what it is when we're opening up our perception,
Yeah.
right? It sort of starts very narrow, and we've got like these blinders on, and we're kind of seeing the world like this. And we're like, oh, we're happy. There's nothing else going on. And then all of a sudden we're like, oh, what's that? What's that? What's that? What's that? It's kind of like what it happens, right? And I guess a good story for me to tell would be probably uh, I had an experience with a client. So I didn't start with readings, but it went that way. I started with healing, started with Reiki, doing Reiki. And I started to see things and feel things and all of that. And then I had this one particular client, and she was a sensitive as well. And she had been struggling with anxiety and stuff, which I have had. So I certainly connected with that. I did not know she was a sensitive at the time. So the interesting thing about when you put sensitives together, they're even more sensitive. It brings everything into awareness even more because you raise the vibration even more, right? When you've got two high vibe people. Anyways, I didn't know any of this at the time. So I start my Reiki session. I've got this woman on the table, and I was working with Archangel Michael and St. Mark at the time. So I had Michael here and I had St. Mark here. And I start into it, and I'd sensed them there. I didn't see them right away. All of a sudden, the room looks like it's like shrouded in like almost like sheer curtains, like what you see behind me, only it's like closer. And all of a sudden, this guy steps forward like through the curtain. He's like, we've been trying to reach her for years. I'm like, oh, okay. What's your name? Does she know you? Right? I'm just starting this mediumship thing, so I'm not really versed on how to talk to this guy. I just thought, well, I guess I'll talk to him like like a being, like a human being. So he steps forward and I ask him, he's like, nope, but we've been trying to reach her for years. Okay, then. Then this other woman steps forward, and she presents herself as Mary. And she says, in a very southern drawl accent, she starts telling me that I need to tell her to stand up for herself. And I'm not even going to attempt the southern accent, although it would be cute if I could, but I'm not going to attempt it.
Your head really good.
telling her to stand up for herself and don't put up with anything. And all of a sudden I get this download of what the whole relationship was with her. It was a past life thing with this woman. And she was very much like a nanny sort of role, right? Then she stays there, and this other woman steps forward, a grandmotherly figure. And the woman says, please tell her it's me. And I'm like, okay. And now I'm thinking about these mediumship shows that I've seen, and I'm like, okay, so I need to bring some confirmation back on who this is. And I said, okay, so show me some confirmation. And so she shows me a brooch of a silhouette of a woman. And I look at her and I'm like, jewelry? Really? They always say jewelry. And she says, don't worry, dear. She'll know. I'm like, all righty. So in the meantime, I also, bring in Michael to cut the cords for this woman, etheric cords that we get, which attach us to negative things and stuff in our lives. So Michael comes in with these big gold scissors and cuts the cords. So I then think, okay, we need to form a committee for this girl because she's had this anxiety. That's what I did. I came home, formed a committee so that they weren't all yelling at me because obviously the room was full. So formed a committee, asked Mary to be the committee. All of a sudden, the client sits up and is like, I need to go to the washroom. And I'm like, okay, you need to ground first. So just give me a second. So I ground her. She goes off to the washroom. She comes back and we start talking about the session. And she starts to describe Archangel Michael and St. Mark exactly how I had seen them, because by the end I had seen them there. And then she says, I say something about Mary, and she's like, and the story was that she was from Georgia. She's like, I love Georgia. And I'm like, that's usually a telltale sign that, there's a past life there. So then she holds out the brooch, or I tell her about this grandmotherly figure, and she smiles, and I tell her about the brooch. She starts to cry. She said, I used to hold that whenever I was afraid at night. My mom would come and give it to me, and I'd put it under my pillow, and I held it for the birth of my sons. I was like, okay, no wonder she said she would know. And then it was just, the whole thing was very powerful for me because I had like all of the different examples of like clairvoyance, clairaudience, claircognizance. Like it all came in, and it was so clear and vivid that day. It was like super impressive. I was really like in awe. So I tell the story often just because it was very impactful for me. So that was kind of the first time that I really had, it was like very confirming, I guess, would be the brooch thing was very validating. So it really felt like, oh, wow, okay, I guess I can do this kind of work. That was the first time that I really sort of jumped into that kind of thing. So after that, I started doing it a little bit more. I mean, it takes practice to get into it and stuff. So it would come up, and I'm not the kind of medium that calls people in. That's just not my thing, because I don't do it like you do, where it's that's your whole purpose, is to connect with somebody. So whenever they come in, I have a chat with them and then send them off on their way. but my focus is usually just on sort of gathering information. So for me, sometimes I'll talk to, ancestors or the dead or whatever. Other times I'm talking to more like archangelics or galactics or, elementals even from time to time, and ascended masters. So it depends on the day, what
What?
the strong thing is. But that was quite impactful.
Yeah, in my case, it's not a matter of doing it on a regular basis. It actually started 3 years ago or something. This whole thing started, and then slowly, um, I started to trust myself. That's the trust
Mm.
my. And I remember, I don't know, I must have told you at the beginning, is that I'll be working, and then all of a sudden I go, oh, I'm so tired. I just go on the couch, lie down, and I go into a trance, and I go somewhere, and something happens. Different, what do you call it? Messages comes in, and that started to change afterward. They stopped. I thought I was broken. My antenna's not working anymore. Uh,
We all go through that too.
and
We get
yeah,
fearful.
it's like what happened. It was happening every day, at least once a day, and all of a sudden there's nothing, complete silence. So, but slowly, I started to realize change happens at a pace where you're ready for. And that pace, what happens is that you're changing, but you don't realize what is happening. So instead of going into a trance and seeing something, you still get the feel, but you're not trusting that the feel is the communication channel that you have open. And sometimes the communication channel would be a voice in the head, my voice, of course, and but it's not mine. I know it's not mine because there's a difference to that voice. and some other time it's just a feeling. It's when you get goosebumps or a nudge on the shoulder.
Mhm.
So now with time, I do understand where it's coming from, and what do you call it? Where it's coming from, when what it means, because we all have different meanings to different, to even to the same feeling. Let's say if you say, "Oh, I got a nudge on my right shoulder," somebody might say, "Oh, it's a male energy that's coming here." It could be true for that person, but it could be
Mhm.
something else for you. Okay, mine,
Yep.
I never felt that there's a distinction. All I felt is that if there's something needed to be said, it's like, hello, 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 hello. Are we there? 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 Until it's like, yes, we are there. Now what? So I passed the message, because otherwise it keep on nudging, and it doesn't matter
Yeah.
who it is. It's just, I guess that is the point where I feel. Okay, so other people could be on the left, but mine happened to be on the right, and just a small little explanation. So we have hellos to everybody. Thank you for being on, Fleck and Twillo Life.
Yeah, that was me.
Pardon?
That
Oh,
was
that's
me. I was saying hello,
hello,
everybody.
everyone. Yeah, so we do change, and things start changing, but what happens to our personal lives along with that? That gets impacted. It gets impacted
Mhm.
a lot, and it doesn't mean that you're going to go from north to south, or high like from north to south, or totally
Hey,
different direction. But hey, Mixie, um,
it's Ming. Hey, Ming.
Ming, Ming Shi.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, Ming. Um,
Ming.
it doesn't mean that you have to do a 90 degrees or a 180-degree change. It means that a change will occur, no matter what will occur, because our belief, that our core beliefs, gets shaken. Okay.
Yeah.
um, and that when that happens, the your support system around you, friends and family and all of that, support that same belief, and you don't
Yeah.
anymore. You have doubts about that belief. Whatever that belief is, it doesn't matter. But you start to have doubts about the belief, so you retreat. And that's why I was saying at the beginning, you want to go sit in the cave, but that's an extreme. That is extreme.
Sometimes I want to go sit in a cave.
um, that is extreme, and what do you call it? Uh, it doesn't happen to everybody. That does not happen to everyone. But we do feel that change. We do see certain friends and family members just fade away, because we don't resonate anymore, and that I guess is normal. I don't know if you have the same type of.
Yeah, I would say that's probably one of the
Yeah,
hardest parts of it, is because all of those people uh, that we used to be close to, we no longer have the same kind of connection to them. So it's not that we don't care about them, we don't love them, and all of that. Of course we do,
yeah,
right? It's just that um, all of a sudden we don't always have the same likes and dislikes, and we don't have the same views on life, or um, we start to see things really differently. We start we start to see the dead, for instance, and we're like, so this is what I'm seeing, and they're like, really? And they it's and I can understand it from their point of view too, right? We've been a certain way, friends or in a relationship or whatever that is, all our lives, and all of a sudden we're seeing things differently, and we're questioning our own beliefs. We're questioning our own, like, am I really seeing the dead standing? Like, what am I seeing? Like, what is that? And so we're struggling with that. I mean, some of us want to talk about that because we're struggling with it,
good point.
right? And we start talking about it and people look at us like, because we're not like, are you serious? Like, and there's the whole thing about, are you losing it? Are you starting to get delusional? Are you like, and you almost question that yourself, right? There's times when I even still every so often, I'll be like, I think I've even done it with you, Ramsey. I think I've texted you, I'm not going crazy, right?
Yes.
And you're like, no, you're good. I'm like, okay. But there's times when you think you are, because it is such a different perspective from what you had, or from the people around you, from what they have. So it's, a big part of the journey is trying to bridge that for yourself, but also for others at the same time. So that's kind of, for me, I think that's probably been the most challenging part. And then there's friends that just won't get it, they're not going to be there, and it's not a bad thing for them. It's just not their journey this time to see things in that way. So it doesn't mean they're, better or whatever. It's just that you're seeing things differently. Right.
Yes.
And so it's important for us, I think, when we start this journey, to do our best to stay out of judgment of others, and accept people for where they're at. And that's what I would hope that the people that have surrounded us, our family in particular, because they're family, that they would accept without judgment. That would be like, the ideal is for everybody to just accept that there's been this change, and that there's love, and we can just go forward. But in reality, it's difficult for those people around you.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I had I had friends that felt pretty strongly about this not being a good thing.
Oh yes,
right?
A lot of.
They tried to be understanding, and it's not. It's just not in their framework, and they have a very different way of seeing things, and that's okay. Like I said, it doesn't mean that they're wrong or I'm wrong. It's just a different way of seeing things. But I think that's probably one of the most difficult things, because you do end up, because you don't have the same things in common, you do sort of grow apart from these people sometimes. That's part of the journey.
You grow apart with friends from early age, because then each one has their own, what do you call it, interests in life, which differ from the other, and then you start so slowly moving apart. It's the same thing. It's not something magical that is happening, or sorry, not about magic, something demonic that is happening, or it's none of these things. It's none of these things at all. It's just a normal human behavior, whereby we connect based on beliefs, and all of a sudden these beliefs or these interests are not there. So we search for a community that can that we can relate to. For example, we're speaking English right now, and we go to Brazil, for example, and they all speak Portuguese. And we're sitting at a restaurant, and we're ordering our food, and we hear somebody speaking English behind us, and the accent is the same. Oh my God, you're Canadian? Yes, we're Canadian. We become best friends. We don't know these people. It's just we start to relate on one point, and then we become best friends for that period. Now, of course, friendship might extend, but we have a common interest. We all speak the same language. We come from the same culture. There's I don't know. They could be close by, living in the same city, and we didn't know about it. So there's that connects us together. So that is the type of thing. So let us just stop for 2 seconds, say hello to Vivian.
Because we got a whole bunch of friends that just arrived. I'm so excited. Hi, guys.
Hey, everyone. Yes. Who else?
Lise.
Okay. Hello, Fleck. Hi, all. That's Fleck. And
that's
okay. Let me see. I missed who.
And we have Vivian.
Yeah, Vivian.
We have Vivian there.
And then Pogo. Yes, definitely. Message Tanys. Am I crazy all the time? I don't know.
She has, yeah. And I'm like, you're not crazy. You're just, tuning in.
Yes, don't worry about it. It happens.
Yeah,
It happens.
it's okay.
Everybody to everybody. I'm finding that so hard right now. My dad is so scientifically minded, but I want to so badly tell him things, but I know I can't.
Right.
Uh, True, and you can bring it. You can. Okay, these topics are very sensitive. It's like you're changing somebody's religion. You can't change somebody's religion. You can convince them that Scientology is better than the Catholic Church. You can't. It doesn't work. Okay, it has to. It has to move slowly. Okay, maybe you can
Yeah.
hint. Oh, by the way, I think this is a good thing. I saw this article written by this person. Maybe just discuss it here and there and relate it to science, because science and spirituality are getting hand in hand now. Okay, they even,
Yeah. They're definitely becoming
yes,
linked.
they measured the weight of the spirit.
Hmm.
They,
3/4 of an ounce.
yes, and now we record the, what do you call it, spirit, with special instrumentation, and special cameras and so
Yep.
on and so forth. So there are scientific evidence that shows the other side exists, and maybe you can just have a discussion about that rather than say, "Hey, I'm a medium. I see somebody behind you. I think it's great grandfather." That's, yeah.
That's what we do.
Well, I try as much as possible not to do. I opened up Facebook, and I know the other guy, because the that guy is also a psychic medium on another group that I connect with, and I see his picture and I go, "Oh my God, Juan! There's a spirit of a lady and behind that closet where you're staying. It's a hotel or something, or a bed and breakfast. I can't remember." He goes, "Yeah, the owner of the lady passed away two what do you call it, rooms away from where this picture is taken." I go, "Oh my God, she's there," and he goes, "Yes." So when you know the person, you can talk about it, you can relate, you can pass it on, messages back and forth. If not, I would formulate my words differently, uh,
Yep.
differently. Uh, so
I'll often ask permission. You
that
know,
too.
I'll say, you know, I'm kind of getting a message for you. Are you open to that? And I have had people say no, and I respect that, right? It's about respecting where other people are at.
Yes.
So,
Uh, his worry is the hoaxes you hear about in the news, people being taken advantage of. One bad apple, as they say. Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
yeah, it's true.
Um, I do see these things on social media. Let me keep it up. I do see these things on social media, and I'm sure Tannis, myself, yourself, uh, we have the experience that we can easily say, okay, yeah, this is fake news. Uh, but
We have a
not
BS
everyone.
meter.
Yes, not everyone actually, or is able or willing to see beyond the BS that is there. And that's sad, because, like you said, one bad apple messes up the reputation of everybody.
Well, and I think, one way to tell is, you're if you're so we've had this, those of you that have followed us, we've had this on the other shows. When we're in doing readings and then somebody else comes on and starts saying, I see this in you, I want to give you a message, and you know
Run.
message me, and that's it, it's first of all, it's not very polite, right, to go on somebody else's show. But secondly, it's usually they're going to ask you for money,
Yes.
right? And for the most part, I would have to say, for the most part, I don't approach. I allow others to approach me, or we start a conversation first, or whatever, um, because I'm not about to jump in and start asking people for money. If if I'm if I'm concerned about something. I think I've only ever asked one person to message me, and I was wanting to make sure they were okay after the show, right? It, other than that, it's not something that I tend to do. So I think that if somebody is trying to sell you in your inbox or your messenger, it's probably not. And you've never seen them before,
Yeah.
like don't even bother, right? It's not it's not a good idea, because that is those hoax things, really. Yeah.
Watch for red flags always. If it doesn't
Yeah.
look good, if it doesn't smell good, it ain't good at all. And
And I would say to make sure that when you do turn them down, be polite.
yeah,
Okay? Don't just like, so no thank you. I'm good. I have somebody that I use, or something like that, so that you're not really ruffling feathers, right? You don't want to ruffle feathers. Or you might have to talk to me for other reasons.
um, just be wary.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing, and I didn't know that my senses were that strong, but I was one time here in Montreal, and I see this Indian thing where come we'll read your palm. It's only a donation of $10, whatever. I said, oh well, let me go see what the future holds. Especially when you see all these Indian gurus and stuff like that. The minute I walked in, I go, I think I made a mistake, but I'm there, $10,
Whatever, right?
whatever. So I sat down, and this guy that doesn't touch the money because he's holier than anything else, and you have to give it to somebody else that is sitting. I said, okay, fine. And then he starts talking, and I go, okay, okay. General things that we all have, but they weren't specific. And then
Mm-hmm.
we got to a point, I see that there's a curse on you. That's why you're not advancing. For $500, I can't remember if it's 500, but for this amount of dollars, I can remove it, and we do this, we do that, whatever. And he's talking, 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 and I wasn't there anymore. And then I stopped, and I looked at him, and I go, okay, I don't have money now, but thank you very much, but I can remove this. I said, for now, I think I'll sit with it. Just leave me alone. I
I
walked
have a
out.
friend named Tanys that does curse removals. I'm good.
But there was nothing. It was just
Yeah.
a slowly introducing himself, and then building it up so that he can ask for extra fund, which is, t- I don't like that. Anyways, that's not me.
No. And trying to scare people,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Into giving you money. That's really the part that bothers me about that.
the fear factor.
Um, yeah. Trying to tell you that you have a curse so that you remove it. Like, I I I do removals, but I really attempt not to say it
Yeah,
until after I've done it. So because the fear does not help anybody
yeah.
in those situations anyways. So
So, Ming, do you see the spirit in a photo through the other senses, like a third eye or actual visual see it? No, in a photo, the minute the photo came up, I felt there was the spirit, and it was a female. It was behind that armoire. It was instant. It's an instant message that said there's a spirit there. I didn't see it physically. There are
okay.
times where I do see. There are times where I get transported into a vision, like last Wednesday. We take turn to give the reading for the person, and I got transported into that vision for that lady, and Tannis finished, and there was complete silence, and I'm still in the vision, and I realize it's quiet. Then I turn around,
I'm
and
like,
I'm on camera.
Ramsey, Ramsey,
So
you're
I'm on
next.
camera. So it depends how it comes, Ming. And when you say the third eye, I know people are so focused on the third eye being the key to visualization, but your active visualization on a daily basis, and I know you like nature a lot, and you take beautiful pictures of them. When you immerse yourself into it, that's what it feels like, you know. So you're
Yeah.
already doing it on a different level. So you are able to feel nature, to feel those flowers, to feel that squirrel, and it's just like I can't explain it. Like I would like to put it in words, but words don't give it justice. It's that there's an inner knowing that just like here it is, yeah, it's there.
Yeah. So for me, it's slightly different, I think, from yours. I will sometimes see it in my third eye, which for me is much like my imagination. Um, so I'll sometimes see it in my third eye, and it's like a picture in my head. And then other times I have actually seen something there,
Yeah,
kind of thing, you know. But I have to really be in a very meditative kind of high vibe situation for me to see it there. I have. I mean, the first time I saw a dragon there, I was like, okay, there's a dragon standing there. Um, or an ET, for instance. So those guys are in the higher dimension frequency. So they're not here like physically, right? But they're here in fifth dimension and above. And so you see them differently than you do like a physical thing. It's more like seeing see through because it's not dense like what we have when we're physical. It's like more see through. So I do see them like that on occasion, but it's not as common as seeing the images in my head for sure.
see,
So I hope that answers your question, Ming.
uh,
It's kind of a
yeah,
combination of both
yeah. So
for me.
what you can also do is, for example, you're sitting now and watching us. If I tell you green apple, you don't need to close your eyes. You don't need to do anything. You can still look at us and see a green apple over there, and
Right.
that's part of it. That's part of it. You know. So
Another exercise somebody gave me one time was to just pick something, like pick my crystal here. So pick my crystal. It's got a little sun on it. It's soda light, by the way. But you, so you have a little sun on there. So picture all the detail. Like look at it and study it. Study all the detail in there, and then close your eyes and picture it. And if you can't, open your eyes, study the detail, close your eyes, and picture it. And so that is a great way to start to
tune in.
um, tune in, yeah, and to be able to visualize, you know. Hello from Washington
You
State. Hello, hello.
hello.
You're welcoming. Can we telepathically talk with animals? Absolutely. We can telepathically talk with trees and plants and
And
crystals,
people.
all of those. Yeah, and people, of course, and other beings that aren't human, right? Absolutely, we can do that. I remember, I think the biggest thing for me that was surprising around talking to trees, actually, we have this grouping of trees in our backyard, and there were 6 of them. One of them was dying, and it was going to fall on our shed. So unfortunately, we had to cut it down, which I don't really like, but it had to be done, or it was going to, fall because we have power lines and stuff too. So anyway, I was sitting in the living room while this was happening, and I was just reading a book. I wasn't paying any attention. All of a sudden, I felt overwhelming sadness, and I started to cry. And I was like, "What am I feeling?" And I heard the trees be like, "We're so sad. We're losing our friend." And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." So yes, we definitely do. So if we can do that with trees, we can definitely do it with animals. I sometimes will look at an animal and I'll be talking to it, and it's like I'm hearing it talk to me in my head the same as I would hear somebody else talking to me. So it just depends on the animal too. Some animals are much more telepathic than
Yeah.
others.
And if you realize, you think of someone, they either show up in a couple of minutes afterwards, or they call, or you bump into them on the street. It is amazing. That is telepathic communication. Because, hey, I'm
Yep.
here. Let's connect. Let's connect.
Yep.
And if you're with friends in let's say shopping store, or a shopping mall, or a big box store, and if you disperse, instead of running everywhere, just close your eyes and say, "Okay, where are you?" And you start moving towards that person. You know exactly
Hmm.
where they are. You feel
Yep.
it. We all do it. You feel it.
Yep. And I've had times where I'll all of a sudden be like, something's wrong with so and so, and I'll call them, and something's happened.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's interesting. Or somebody will say, I was just thinking about you, and I'll say, I got your message, that's why I called. Because I just thought of them, and I'm like, oh, I need to call them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I say, you're precious to flowers, they respond with gold and white light, and it makes you cry. It makes you cry because it's beautiful, that unconditional love
Yes.
that they give,
Yes.
right? Unconditional love. When you get that, like the plants, crystals, animals, and the spirit guides and all of that, when they bring their love in, it makes me cry every time, because it's just beautiful, beautiful, heart opening when we
Absolutely.
get that.
Fleck says he does it with his keys. By the way,
Perfect.
your keys have your energy signal on them,
That's right.
because you hold them every day, you're with them every day, so they have that connection with you. So you can easily find them, and that is amazing, Fleck. You mastered it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I need to
Thank you
do
for
that with
sharing.
my sunglasses. I couldn't find them today. I did afterwards, but took me a while. Yes, absolutely. Parents and friends and stuff, you're much more connected to. So you're definitely going
Absolutely.
to get that.
Yeah.
That's great. Hip and city. Hip and city. Hip and city.
Hippin City. Hypney City. Um,
So great to have you all here.
yeah.
It's
Thank you
awesome.
for joining in and bringing in your experiences too. It helps everybody. Like, seriously, last episode, it touched so many people that we said, no, we have to continue our journey to say, how did we get over here? What did we do? What is it all about? Because if we touch one more person this week, that will be amazing. Well, what? Sorry. Now she.
Yeah, she makes my nose
Oh,
itch. I think you're making my nose itch, actually. Stop that.
all right. So, yes. So the connection is, the way I see it. It's like a spider web. The web is one magical. um I don't know what to call it. Actually, it's one magical creation, and if you notice, if not you notice, but what you know is that if an insect hits one side of the web, the whole web vibrates, and then the what is it called, the
Spider.
yeah, spider,
Those
and the
things that eat
spider
the bugs.
runs to that point. So that vibration that tells the spider where that insect is on, which side it is on. This is exactly the same thing. One
Mhm.
signals from one end, it gets it to the other end quickly.
Yeah. We're all connected. So there's a crystalline grid, actually, that goes all the way around the earth. And we're all connected with all these energetic cords to the crystalline grid and to each other. So that's how the telepathic stuff works. Now, animals and stuff get that too. There's a legend there, or a story about how monkeys on one side of the world started dipping their sweet potatoes in the ocean, and they realized they taste better. And this was before the internet and stuff. And next thing you know, the monkeys on the other side of the world are dipping their sweet potatoes in the ocean because it's salty and it's
I
making
think
them
it's called
taste better.
the 100 monkey syndrome or something like that. When you have a certain
Yep.
level of vibration,
Yep.
it gets transmitted everywhere. Hypnicity.
So
No, I'm not.
who are you asking about?
Is it me or Tannis? I'm not Swiss, by the way.
Neither am I, but I was
Yeah.
curious who you were asking. Where are you
I'm,
from, Ramsey?
I'm originally from Lebanon. I've been in Canada for a lot of time, long time ago. I landed here in 91, so that's what, 30, 40 years? I can't remember. Anyways, I can't do math. I'm of
30
Lebanese
years. Yeah.
origin. I have a question.
Hmm.
I was meditating yesterday and I saw a bridge crumble like a movie. Then the picture sped up where I could make out the picture. Don't know what to make of it. Okay.
Hmm. Oh, okay. They were asking you.
Yes, his dad or her
Hmm.
dad from the ops.
Hmm. Cool.
Thank you. Yeah. So you saw a vision in your meditation. Uh, do you want to weigh in on this?
So when spirit talks to us, they talk to us in symbols. And so you have to start to build your own language with your guides. So a bridge is a great example because um, I actually, so one time I saw, they showed me uh, my husband in a coffin. So this is quite shocking. They showed my husband in a coffin, and I was like super upset. I was like, what? And I have told them that I don't want to know when someone's going to die unless I can change the outcome, right? So I don't get that kind of messaging because I don't want that responsibility. And so I saw this and I was like, and I was really really upset, of course. And um, I left it a day or so because I was like trying to process it. And finally I went back into meditation. I'm like, what do you mean by this? And they're like, well, that he's going to go through a transition. I'm like, so what that speaks to, I've now asked them if someone's going to go through a transition, that we need to do a bridge, not a coffin. but but for them, they think of us dying as just a transition. It's not a death for them. It's just the transition from one state of being to another state of being. And so that could even be, an ascension process, for instance. It doesn't mean you're going to actually physically die. It just may mean that, all of those paradigms that we've been living with for so long are going to die, and we're going to bring in new paradigms and new ways of being and new ways of thinking, but it doesn't mean we're physically going to die. And so with that kind of thing, I started saying, okay, so I need you to do this for that. And that's how you start to sort of develop your language. Another example I had was I would see when I was, so I have done some medical medium stuff, and I would see, they'd show me like a heart, like a big puffed heart, like a Valentine's kind of heart. And I thought maybe it was a heart thing, right? Then I actually saw one and it was like an anatomically correct heart. And so I was like, okay, so what's the difference here? These look really different. What's happening here? And it turned out that this big puffed heart was the emotional heart. So if it was a broken heart, it was like emotionally broken heart, as opposed to a broken heart, meaning they need like heart surgery. And then the anatomically correct heart was actually if somebody had some kind of a heart condition. And so that's kind of what you start to develop with your guides. So I would encourage you on that to um, like go back in and ask your guides and see what comes. Okay. In general, I would say that bridges are like transition, but that's just my interpretation. They could also be a connection thing. So there could be a connection that's going to change for you, in terms of how close you feel with someone. That would be my interpretation, but I think I do want to, put that sort of
And
bracket on it, that it could be
yes.
different for
Quick
different
one. I
people.
want to go on to that, but I just want to say to Hypnicity, don't worry about it. Thank you for the question. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you being on the show. Thank you. It's your first time over here.
Yeah.
We really appreciate your presence. You bring a lot to it, and
Awesome. Thank
we're open
you.
to any question. Um, in, in my
Absolutely.
case, Fleck, what I would do, what does the symbol mean for me? A bridge is for me, a bridge could be a path from one point to another. It crumbled, I would look at it as,
Hmm.
I'm not supposed to go there, let me find another way.
Hmm.
It's how you feel about that vision, because we all interpret it based on the repertoire of understanding of certain pictures,
Yep.
like the coffin between death and rebirth. So
Yep.
it depends on what you see the bridge is and how it feels to you. Okay. And I see a lot because I go on Facebook and I connect to all these spiritual what do you call it, pages and stuff like that, which sometimes I regret and I start canceling them. But there's a lot of misinformation per se. Is like, oh no, a bridge should be this and a tower you should be climbing or something to that effect. I don't know, but it's not that. It's there.
Mm-mm.
People try to put everything in a box. That world is a free flow. It is not confined to a certain way of doing things. My interpretation is different than Tannis, is different than yours, is different than somebody else. Maybe two of us might find the same thing, but it doesn't mean that that's how it's supposed to be. So I invite you and others to feel into that image.
Mhm.
How does it feel to you? Maybe it feels really good, like thank God it broke. Now I
Yeah.
can go to the market instead and find something else instead. So
Mhm.
that's how we should look into those things. Yes, we are people of journey. That's true. So each journey is a bit different.
Individuals. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
It seems that your Twilio lifestyle is not putting the messages. I know Estella asked if she can make a comment, but she did not. And Shem, hello Shem. For some reason, the
Oh,
messages are not showing up. Um,
yeah. They're not
if
coming up
I saw, yes, for some
on
reason.
the side
Shem said,
there.
I saw my funeral. I was attending one too. Again, a funeral could be your rebirth into a new life. Okay, it could
Hmm.
be a rebirth into yours, like your awakening. And I know you're going through changes now, right now. So that could be the vision of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so do look and feel into it. That is the best thing I find. Feeling gives you the answers because that's how it feels to you, you know
Hmm.
uh thank you for your input. I will ask, think I may know. Awesome. It's not your thing.
So
We're sure you know. I took it
yeah.
out of Tanis's mouth. We're sure you know.
Yeah.
Tanis?
If you think you do, that's it, right?
Yeah,
Because we all question ourselves. So whatever that first thing that comes to mind when you think of something,
yeah.
that's your intuition. The second stuff is when your brain gets in the way. So
Feel into it. Love that. Yes, that's
yeah.
that's what it is. So I'll tell you one thing. When I do mediumship, I see a vision. I see a spirit. Like on this Wednesday, there was somebody that wanted to know about a past loved one, and the first thing I got the image. So saw the image. I know the how the person looks, and the next thing I said, okay, could you please come closer and let me feel and see what you want. And then I started to feel her. I started to feel the love that she had for that person. And I saw the vision while she's coming closer on what message does she want to give that person. So
Yeah.
there it's a combination of visual to feeling to hearing to you can get all your senses and some of them might be all messed up, but the first thing you if you allow without thinking, that's the one that is correct.
First
Thanks,
thought,
Fleck.
right thought. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely correct, Ming. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Fogo, Fleck. Oh no, yes, that's a message to Fogo. You're all
That's them
welcome
just
for being
talking among,
here.
they're
And
talking amongst
thank,
themselves.
yes, and thank you for helping each other and being there for each other. Really
That's what
appreciate it. Shem, happy Friday and weekend to you too. Estella, same thing. Happy weekend. Thank you for showing up. I know a lot of you are first timers, and we really appreciate your presence. Your energy actually fuels this show, and your questions
absolutely.
actually helps a lot of people, not only yourself. So we are very grateful for you being here. So, Tannis, we have still a couple of minutes to go. We're at 56
Yeah.
before the hour. What would you like to discuss? Ah,
Uh
maybe you have something,
I'm on the
one of
spot.
your classes. No, no, no. One of your classes, one of your
Awesome.
classes that you're giving at the Twillo Lifestyle Academy.
Yeah, so there are some classes coming up. So we've got I actually have a crystal basics class tomorrow. So I think you have to sign up tonight though, if you're going to, because I don't think the system doesn't accept it tomorrow. So crystal basics is tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern. And then we have at the end of the month, we're starting 2 nice classes. One of them is channeling, which will help you to tap into all 12 dimensions, physical dimensions, and we'll go and visit those. Yes, I saw that. I'm excited. Looking forward to meeting you. Um, and we'll in the channeling class we actually will it's a whole lot of guided meditations and we'll go and visit all the 12 physical dimensions, and it is great for learning about your psychic abilities. Really, it's a key one for that, and you'll be able to channel your own messages by doing this. So it really teaches you and helps you to practice that. Okay, so tapping into the ascended masters, the elementals, the all of that kind of stuff. And then some hypnicity. She's a pure Pure Energy Healing Academy practitioner. Beautiful.
That's
Awesome.
awesome.
I'm a
Yes.
crystal master, so crystals are crystals. They unite people. They have their own consciousness and everything. They're first dimensional beings. So, yeah, so that's one thing that's starting at the end of July is the channeling class. And then 2 of the other teachers and we have joined up to bring forward a class called Know Thyself. And it's like a sampler class of a whole bunch of different modalities or ways of delving into your own stuff, your own personal stuff. So like I'm going to talk about some of the Mayan glyphs, and I have Jen who's going to talk about human design and all of that. We're going to look at chakras and how we can start to identify our own chakras and when they're not in alignment. What does that mean for us? We're going to do some dream building. We're going to do all sorts of stuff. So it's it's going to be a fun sampler class. So both of those are actually 9-week classes, and they're going to be a lot of fun. So we're looking forward to those ones, and we're planning for September. So maybe we can convince Ramzi to teach in September.
Well, actually, we're part of the witches thing that evolved into other stuff, and now there's a spirit cafe, which we're doing once a month. Uh, it's on Awaken to Your True Self. You can
Mhm.
see a bit of it. It's an hour and a half. Not sure exactly how long it's going to take because these things have no boundaries. They're not boxed. We say an hour, it could be two, but we start with that. And we're starting on the 22nd, 21st, 22nd, which is next Saturday. I don't know what date that would be. Next Saturday is our first cafe.
Yep,
22nd,
22nd, I think.
22nd, yes. It's at noon Eastern time. Um, and it's where there's myself over here. There's my colleague in Ireland. She's also, we studied mediumship together. We took the same classes for 2 years, and there's one of the ladies that was part of the Witch Songline, the art, Awaken,
Mhm.
Remember, and Trust art. She's also joining us in this collaboration effort. So if anybody's interested, just
Beautiful.
check in Awaken to Your True Self. It's over there. And on
Awesome.
that note, guys, it's 101. It's 1 minute past the hour. It's amazing. I love one as a new beginning. It's the master number of one. Thank you all for joining. Really appreciated. Appreciated all your feedback, all your questions, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much for being here. Have a great evening and weekend to all.
Thank you so much.